Like I usually do about like 8 to 10 drops of frankincense.
I've had frankincense. It's pretty good. It's good in sparkling water.
Yes, that's actually how I stopped drinking sodas. Was I started with peppermint, and then I would do this in like a glass of water. So I had Perrier's because I was like, oh, like let's just take everything out of the soda that I don't like, which is like the sugar and then all the whatever else that turns it black.
1, 2, 3, go.
Jennifer Hardy, har.
Believe it or not,
Welcome to the Lawyer Dana Show.
the Lawyer Dana podcast.
Wow, we have a lot to talk about.
And we're going to do it right after this.
Welcome to the Lawyer Dana Podcast.
All right.
Okay,
so we left off.
So we're after lunch. So I'm
Yes.
going to give you one of these.
Oh,
Do you know what
okay.
that is?
I don't.
I know you know what that is. So Ningxia Red
I've had this before,
and
yes.
Ningxia Nitro. And I discovered this at the Young Living convention a few years ago, and it works really well. Basically, it's like some sort of vitamin shots, or like the Ningxia Wolfberry or something. But it's like energy vitamin something. I don't know.
So what do you do first? Drink this first?
Usually,
Usually.
that's what I usually do. And so yeah, I kind of blow it up and then.
I'm just making sure there's no gluten. Sorry.
I don't think there's any gluten in it.
I had become one of those people. I didn't want to.
So am I
What
like
happened?
It's better than Joe Rogan getting Elon Musk to smoke pot. Like, this is the healthy version. This is good shots. You mean you're not going to get me stoned? You're giving me vitamins or
Dana,
something?
if you had me smoke pot, that'd be the first time in my entire life I ever did something like that.
We're in Texas. Is it legal to do that in Texas now? It's not? Because that would be funny. So we have to film
Yeah,
the
but
next
see, I like the fact I can always say I never did that.
Well,
my
in
life.
Oklahoma, there's a bunch of places like along the road, like they're everywhere. You can buy pot.
Oh,
all
believe me,
over the place
when
in
I had to go get my mother from Joplin, Missouri, Daniel was like, would you like to go smoke some weed in Oklahoma? I was like, nope, never done that before.
You're not missing out. It's fine. And that's the last thing you need to do is like it too much and then have a problem.
Oh, yeah. No.
All right, so this will hopefully keep our energy up for...
This stuff's pretty tasty.
I know. It's like you got to be careful that you don't overdo it. We had so they had at the convention they had this they called it the Ningxia bar, and they had like every essential oil, and they'd do a shot glass and pour some Ningxia Red in it, and then put all these different drops in it, and it changes your vibration. It especially things like rose or like my favorite. We've always got these on the counter is frankincense and peppermint. And if you guys haven't ever done this, you can go to lawyerdana.com/young living or /young. But and you can sign up through our link to get these. You have to buy them online through their system, but they're totally awesome. They have the Ningxia Red, the Ningxia Nitro, and the peppermint and the frankincense. And if you sign up through us, you get on our team, and then we are.
So anything you sell, you actually earn probably rewards, right?
You get rewards, and again, it helps out the channel and helps us out to have some revenue to help pay for this because it's actually quite not cheap to do this podcast.
And I will say this about Young Living: they use the best quality stuff. So.
The frankincense is, and we got to put that this statement's not been FDA blah 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 thing, but frankincense and peppermint. If I have both of them in my coffee, as a matter of fact, I will show you. I usually do about 8 to 10 drops of frankincense.
I've had frankincense. It's pretty good. It's good in sparkling water.
Yes, that's actually how I stopped drinking sodas. Was I started with peppermint, and then I would do this in a glass of water. So I had Perrier's because I was like, oh, let's just take everything out of the soda that I don't like, which is the sugar and then all the whatever else that turns it black.
Right.
Right. And so and I would take a drop of peppermint and put it in there, and it was like peppermint flavored water, and it give you like great breath. I used to do Listerine breath strips, and that's seems to me like a bad chemical. Like if I touch that now and take one, I'm like, it's poison. Like I just taste everything not, because I know what pure peppermint is, because Young Living stuff is therapeutic, pharmaceutical grade, the highest quality that you can get. And Young Living has this thing called the seed to seal. They basically control it from the time it's a seed in their own fields and all this, from the time it's seeded until the time it's sealed, and they control the distribution. You cannot buy Young Living oils on Amazon. Do not buy them on Amazon. They're fakes on Amazon, and Amazon does a pretty good job of taking all that stuff off, but do not buy this through Amazon. You should only buy it through Young Living. That's the only way you know that you're actually getting the real product. And especially with frankincense, there's another company called doTERRA, and bless them, they do what they do, but they had their own promo video. And in this promo video, their frankincense at some point runs down a ditch in a third world country. Like, not kidding. Dirt ditch or whatever. And they're like, the frankincense comes out here and runs. And I'm like, it's a ditch.
Yeah.
In a third world country, that's poison. Like, it seemed to me anyway. These statements have not been, whatever, by the FDA. But I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to do that. And the frankincense from Young Living is very controlled. It's expensive because of what it is. If you have, it's a network marketing thing. So if you have people that sign up under you, like I think most of what we've gotten free for several years now. You can tell when I've had my frankincense or not.
Well, so it's a funny story about Young Living. I have a past server that used to work for me. And her husband had a son who was born with half a heart.
Oh, wow.
And basically had to undergo like surgery. He had to have surgery, was doing fine. And then on Easter, he was only a few months old. He went into cardiac arrest.
What happened?
Basically, he survived it, but he had damage done to his brain. So basically, he couldn't swallow.
I know.
They had to have a night nurse and things like that to help suction and things because he could choke. From having that happen, he was not allowed. I think they did one more surgery, but he wasn't allowed any more surgeries. So basically, they had to watch their child.
What?
They had to watch.
He passed away?
He passed away. 2 years old when he died.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So anyway, during that time period, she got really involved in Young Living. And she is actually probably one of their top salespeople now.
Oh, wow.
But she learned really quickly what chemicals could be doing in your home and what things can be happening.
It's extensive.
Yeah, and so she changed their whole dynamic of their home. Like, she started making her own deodorant and making her own household sprays and all this other stuff. And because she was always...
Thieves spray is what we use around our house.
She uses that too. And she makes a lot of stuff like recipes and stuff with the oils, and she's very into it, and she actually has a lot.
We had a client who was diagnosed with some form of cancer, and she watched this series called The Truth About Cancer. And in that, it talks about essential oils, and she'd used frankincense was like her number one, and she was expected to live for only a few months. She lived for like 5-6 years, and it was a massive diet change. It was using the essential oils, and it was a really tragic story because she was getting a divorce, and her husband, I don't have very many nice things to say about him, and I definitely don't want to identify any of this, but he basically she didn't die fast enough for him. This is the type of stuff that we sometimes see. Yeah. And she was like, she realized like what he was really doing and wanting and all this, and she did not want to pass away being married to him, and it became this really, I mean that's the type of thing like when we're doing Divorce Dynasty, the TV show. I'm almost getting like choked up thinking about this. The Divorce Dynasty is a combination of comedy and tragedy all wrapped up in one. And I make a joke that I use comedy, and I do this. I mean, comedy is one of my number one tools on helping people get through the worst and most difficult and hardest.
Well, laughter's the best medicine, they say.
It's a good medicine.
Yeah.
Frankincense may be the best medicine.
Best medicine.
These statements have not been, put them every time. Not by the FDA, and these are anecdotal, all this evidence, but like I won't, like peppermint, if I have a headache or whatever, like peppermint definitely helps. I always put it in my coffee. I don't even know if this is a medical thing, but like super helpful with coffee breath, because like you're like, people are like, you smell like a Christmas tree, or people will come up, you smell really good, and I'm like, it's usually because I've recently like done 8 or 10 drops of frankincense, or one drop of so you can handle, most people can handle frankincense way more in quantity than peppermint. If you're going to start with peppermint,
don't drop peppermint straight in your mouth.
I can.
Like not like
I can do about 4
drops.
drops. I can do about 4 drops and be okay. But every now and then, like, I'm like, oh no, because like if you get overwhelmed by peppermint, it's a very not good experience.
Yeah.
Like it's a crisis type of feeling of like bad. But the way I do it is like 1 drop, and the way you should start out to ease yourself in is 1 drop of water in an empty glass, and then fill the glass up with water, because a lot of the drop will stick to the glass.
And make sure it's glass.
And it has to be glass, not plastic. So, or ceramic works, which is why I put it in coffee mugs and things, and it'll dilute it a little bit. But if you like in the Pellegrino, I mean what was it? Not Evian.
No. Are you thinking?
It's the little green ones. Perrier.
Perrier.
So in the Perrier bottles, like if you put a drop, like it's kind of right there on the top. So you have to get it to where like you can kind of do a drop of peppermint, at a time. But it's strong and tough to get used to at first. And I've had a paralegal in the past. He got totally overwhelmed by 1 drop, and
You can choke.
I
can tell you on experience, not with essential oils, but I put a piece of gum in my mouth the other day and like was driving and was hitting my steering wheel because I inhaled the mint somehow, and I could not.
If it gets to the wrong place, like
I could not breathe.
It,
I couldn't breathe.
If it goes like up,
and it was choking me.
Yeah.
And I'm banging on my steering wheel, and I can't get the water. And my husband's sitting there, and he's so oblivious. And I'm like, literally think I'm dying. And I finally get it, and he's like, what? And I was like, I'm freaking choking! Could you not give me my water? And then he goes, well, when I'm choking, I just don't want to be bothered. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me right now? I'm like, when you're choking, I'm like, do you need some water? I mean, I'm like, always like, I always have water on me. So I'm like, do you need something? Are you okay? Do I need to hit you on the back?
Daniel's never been in the service industry.
and I'm just like, like, no.
That's funny.
So that's probably part of these words of affirmation or love language
which we're
here.
going to get to. I'll tell you also this, something that happens to me with frankincense is occasionally like I'll take frankincense and like get into this like feeling like I've got something in the back of my throat and like just kind of like have to like I just have to start like kind of trying to spit it out. And they say that, so the molecule size of frankincense permeates the blood-brain barrier. This is all like, and it's supposed to be like to help with cancer. And from what I've seen anecdotally, not official studies or whatever, but from what I've seen, it could be true. And so my thoughts are when that happens, and I'm like, it feels like I got something I got to get out. In my imagination, I'm imagining like, oh, that's my body ridding myself of something that might lead to cancer or whatever. So I like go through the process and like spit it out or whatever. And if you like got phlegm or whatever, like I don't like to. I think if you swallow that or where it still congests you or something. So that's the type of thing. Like I'll just go in private and like hock it up and just try and get rid of that. I figure I got enough whatever potential of bad molecules in my body. So if that's the way that my body gets rid of it. And on that note, welcome to episode whatever we're on. And we're going to finish back up the love languages quiz.
Yes.
So we're on question number 14.
Yes.
All right.
So just being around my husband makes me feel good. I wish my husband would give me a massage. I would be just being around my husband.
So on mine, it's I wish my wife and I could spend more time together, or I would like a back rub from my wife sometime. Okay, I'm picking the back rub over the other, but I'm a yes on both.
Okay. I don't really like massagers.
Really?
Yeah, kind of weird about it.
I never did, and I don't know if we've been married, coming up 12 years? I don't think Summer's ever given me a massage. I know, like, I've rubbed my back, like, that's one of the moves that seems to work on her.
Oh my God.
But I don't know if she's ever, like, done that back to me. We've got, so the thing, during our marriage, we were on, it was a cruise or a vacation or something, and she, like, talks me into going and getting a massage, and she had been getting them or whatever and not really mentioning it to me, and I'd never gotten a massage before. And, like, we get a massage and come out, and I'm like, she's like, what? I go, you've been doing this all this time, and you never brought me with you, and I had no idea what I was missing out on. It's your job to inform me of these things that are great.
See, here's the thing with a massage. This is the thing for a massage that ruined me. I was in my early 20s, is right when I was managing Palomino, and I had this younger server guy that was working there, and he kept going, Jen, you never had a massage? You need to get a massage. You should get a massage. So for my birthday, the staff came together and got me a gift certificate to the Crescent to have a massage.
Okay.
And
Where does this go wrong?
I was super excited. I'm like, Crescent, massage.
I'm guessing the massage was too hard.
Yes.
Deep tissue.
They got me.
They
I
just
got
went in there and killed you.
I got a question. Was it deep tissue?
Yes.
Yes.
Was it big, huge, burly dude? Or
It was a woman.
Was it big, huge, burly woman?
She had just tough hands, let me put it this way. Because what they're doing is they're breaking up all your toxins in your body. And it's like, so you expel it. So you got to drink a lot of water. So here's the thing. I go in and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited, but I'm like kind of tired too because I worked the night before.
These are the funny stories. So make note of these funny stories because this is what we're going to be putting in Divorce Dynasty. Okay. We're going to be putting, anytime we have Divorce Dynasty, and I'll apologize. We'll get back to that story. So, but there's something that Jerry Seinfeld
So me and you are on so many different levels of Divorce Dynasty because I know you go to Duck Dynasty, and I think of Dynasty from when I was young.
It's a little bit of both, isn't it?
Yeah, you know Dynasty, the old TV show.
So,
because I think of us all fancy. I don't know why, and it's kind of like a mixture of like Dynasty and like.
It's actually going to be shot like, what's the Larry David one? Curb Your We're going to shoot it like Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And Jerry Seinfeld, in an interview, gave the secret of Seinfeld. And he goes, it's not, the characters are funny because the situation is funny and we happen to put those characters in the funny situation. Mm-hmm. If there's not a funny situation, the characters are not funny in among themselves.
Right.
So you have to come up with these funny situations that you put the characters in.
Right.
So what we do is we take and just make note of these funny situations that we're in, and either we caught them with live cameras as they were happening and we edit it and show that story, or we recreate those things. And you getting a massage, that's going to be on the show.
Oh, God.
That is going to be on the show.
Well, anyway, I go in for this massage. Again, I didn't know much about massagers. I didn't know there was this thing called a deep tissue massage. I was probably like 23, 24 years old. So I didn't know. I wasn't sophisticated enough for that stuff. So anyhow, I go in, get this massage, and I'm thinking, I can take a nap while I'm getting this massage. Nope, this lady will not shut up. She's asked me 500 questions, and I'm like, how is this relaxing? I just want you to be quiet. And then, I'm getting this deep tissue massage, and I'm like, this freaking hurts. So then I get done from it, and one of the girls that works with me at the time, she's actually a judge in Dallas now.
Who is it?
Jean Lee.
Oh, wow.
So Jean Lee was a supervisor for me at Palomino, and she was going to law school.
Oh, wow.
So Jean is either 8 or 10 years older than me. I can't remember. So she was in her early 30s. I was in my early 20s when we met, and we got along great. And she was a supervisor, and we would always talk and stuff. But she went with me, and she had a facial. I had a massage. And then afterwards, we took advantage of the spa because, there's like the cold pool, the hot pool, the sauna room, the quiet room, cucumber water, all this different fancy stuff that I was never experienced before in my life. And, of course, she had.
You
Cause,
didn't have that in Mesquite?
No, not at all. But anyway, yeah. So, yeah, that was my little massage debut.
Have you had any since then?
No.
What? That's the only massage you've ever had?
Only massage I've ever had.
Challenge accepted, Jennifer.
I mean, don't get me wrong. My husband has given me a massage, but
So we will set up a table right here in the studio, and we're going to film you.
oh my gosh.
What, too much?
You know
No,
what?
We'll film her. We'll go on site, and we'll film her like going in. And
I actually take that back. I did have a friend going to massage therapy school when I was a teenager, and she did give me a massage, but I didn't really count that very much because she was going through school to learn. So
Is that better than the deep?
yeah, because it was more relaxing, but yeah.
All right, well, let's
No.
let's leave it at number 14 and go to 15.
Okay, if my husband would react positively to my accomplishments, that would be encouraging. I wish my husband would help me with the task that he doesn't enjoy, just because he knows it would mean a lot to me. I think I would pick D, I wish he would help me with tasks.
Really? Okay, so
that
I'm different.
I didn't enjoy.
I wish my wife would be more enthusiastic about something I've accomplished. Although she's good at that already. Like, I don't need more than that. But I wish my wife would help me with tasks even though she dislikes. Nope, I don't like working with her on a task that she dislikes.
I think I would pick both, but you know what?
I'm
reconsidering my answer here. I think I'm going with the first one, and I'm taking the second one out because now that I think about it, no, I don't like doing stuff with Daniel because he's very OCD about things. So we're different in this perspective. Like, I grew up with a very OCD mother where everything had to be done and we were on routines. Like, this day the house got cleaned thoroughly. Like, take everything off the furniture, you vacuumed the furniture off, you polished the furniture, and then you wiped every artifact and put it back. Okay, that's how we were. And bathrooms got cleaned on certain days. The house got vacuumed twice a day. Like, this was
The house got vacuumed twice a day?
We had dogs. My mom was very big about house had to be vacuumed twice a day.
The whole house?
Yeah. So I grew up with a very...
Twice a day?
Yes.
I bet your carpet looked awesome.
Oh, yeah, no, it did. It looked brand new. Like,
the more you the way to maintain carpet, I used to sell carpet for a short period of time.
Yeah.
Is you vacuum. You cannot over vacuum carpet.
Oh, my mom was like, people from our church would make jokes to her. Like, we got to put a cobweb in your house because, like, your house is so clean. Like, that's how clean my mom was. So I married Daniel, and Daniel's neat and clean to some extent. Like, for Daniel, the floors have to be really clean. The kitchen has to be really clean. Laundry has to be done. He doesn't like laundry piling up. Like, it needs to be done every day for him. So there's certain things. But what I have never understood is, like, you can be so good about vacuuming, but you don't dust the furniture. And he's like, well, dust doesn't bother me. I'm like, how does dust not bother you? It's like an inch thick. That doesn't bother you? So if our house gets dusted, it's by me, but that's the problem. Like, I run out of time a lot of times. So,
have you got a housekeeper yet?
No, I have not.
When are you going to do that?
I don't know.
So let's have the housekeeper talk. If there is something that you can do that's more valuable than the amount that you would pay to a housekeeper, then you are not being efficient. Because, like, if you make $40 an hour and you can hire a housekeeper for $20 an hour, then not only are you losing out on $20 of profit for doing the $40 job and hiring the $20 job, like, if you're going to do one or the other, you should do the $40 job and then give a job to the person who's happy to make $20 an hour for doing that job.
No, I agree with you. On that. I mean, we have someone at Moser Yard, which I will say is, like, the best investment, because when Daniel used to mow the yard, this is kind of funny because this is where his OCD comes into play. He would mow the yard.
Scene number 2 of Divorce Dynasty.
Daniel would mow the yard twice.
What?
Not just once.
What?
Twice. Because he wanted to make sure the lines in the yard were like super deep, like you could see every. But it
I used to, when I was a kid, it was the worst. Like, I hated it.
Well, up till we got married, I mowed the yard. I mean, I mowed it every week. I got out there, I trimmed my bushes, I mowed my yard. I was like, I edged my yard.
We've now permanently ruined Daniel's reputation for the rest of his life.
No, I was big on. I did all that. I mean, I was.
Wait, until you got married, you and Daniel lived together before you got married?
No.
Oh.
Before we got married.
You're safe, Daniel.
Yeah. Before we got married, I mean, even when I would mow the yard. I mean, I mowed the yard when I was pregnant with Jackson. Like, it was the thing. I liked mowing the yard. I like being outside like that.
I love mowing. So we have a right on here, and we're on 6 acres. And it's my solitude. It's my meditation. It's the time I'm away from the phone.
I love it
It's
until
awesome.
it gets super hot. Then no.
I even like it when it's hot because I like the solitude of it. And
Yeah.
I love doing it. But I don't get the opportunity to actually do it because I'm needed for so many other things. I don't have the time to be able to do it. We have a service that does it. And every now and then I'll like peel off a day and like mow it. And the funny thing is like when they roll up and I'm on the mower finishing up and I'm like, don't worry about it. You know, and I think we pay them by the month and I don't even know, like I'm not doing it for any other reason except like I just need to do it.
Well, you were a big part of getting Daniel to get somebody to mow the yard because it took him like 5 hours to mow our yard. And I was just like, dude.
Your yard's not that big. What takes 5 hours?
Well, this is before our patio extension and stuff, but he would because he mowed it twice.
Yeah. Well.
But then
Did he go like cross? Did he go like this way and then this way?
Every week, he did it like every other week. So it just depends if he did it at an angle or if he did it up and down, you know, but he was very particular about it. But another problem he would have is Daniel is highly allergic to grass. So then he would just like...
Would he not like put the...
It did not matter. His skin would beat up. Everything about him. He looked like he was like...
It's not that expensive to have somebody mow.
No. So then we've had our lawn guys for a while now, and they charge us $35 a week. I mean, you cannot beat that. And they are in my yard like... maybe 45 minutes and they're gone. I mean, and like when they trim our bushes, because I quit having to do it because my back would go out doing it because you have to stay in that one position. They're so low. And I was just like, I can't do this. I mean, I would go 2 days where I'm like humped over. I couldn't really stand straight from it. So they charge us like $70 and we have like 30 or 40 bushes. They like trim them all. I'm like, no.
If you have a back problem like that, Life Force Chiropractic in Allen, Texas. Dr. Dan Fleischman, the best chiropractor on the planet, period.
And his daughter works on another side of our company, so.
I met her when she was like 12 or something, and when she was I think she started working for us when she was 16, and now she's like 20, mid-20s maybe.
Yeah.
And she's awesome.
Yep.
She's so smart, highly talented.
Yes.
I mean,
she's very artistic.
Yes. Oh yeah.
She's
actually got some characters.
Yeah, she does.
She's coming up with and getting.
They're actually really cool.
They are really good. I think she's going to become very famous with that.
Yeah.
It's very impressive.
Yeah.
Haley Fleischman. That's who that is. So, all right. So, question number. Oh, did I answer mine? Are we on 16?
Yeah, you answered
All right, so
yours.
16.
So I never get tired of my husband's kisses.
I circled that one because although it says wife's, I haven't even read the next one yet, but I know that I'm a yes on that one.
And then
I could walk around all day like I would take a 24-hour straight kiss competition with that. I think that would be hilarious. Should that be an episode of Divorce Dynasty? Dana would love to talk to you, but he's in a prolonged kiss with his wife. It's going to last about 6 more hours.
Oh my gosh. I want my husband to show more interest in things I care about.
I'll just leave that one. Not really.
That really doesn't. I'll go with E.
I mean, a little bit. Like I would say, 1/4 of a point on
I think it just
that one, but
on that question to me, it just depends on the particular thing. Like some things I don't really care about if he's interested or not, and some things I do. So I think it just depends.
all right, on to page 2.
I feel love when my husband helps me with projects, and I still get excited when opening a gift from my husband. See, I think I would
I'll
go.
give a check on the project, assuming that it's a project she likes. But
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with C.
and I would like my wife to work with me on projects. Yes, I definitely would like it. But more excited about gifts for me.
You don't like gifts?
I wish my wife would be happy with never getting another gift from me for the rest of my life and never giving me a gift for the rest of my life. In fact, we sort of understand that about each other because she's the exact same way. And I think I'm like 1 point or something, like one answer different than her on this quiz.
Well, see, here's the thing with gifts.
And we're both happy not getting gifts from each other.
Here's the thing with gifts, like from my husband. Like he does really good at listening to things I say. For example,
That is
my necklace he got me for my 40th birthday. And I had told him I wanted a cross necklace. I'm like, I really want to get a cross necklace. And he was like, okay. And like, that was the end of that conversation.
She wore a cross necklace.
And then he went and like got the kids involved and like sat them down, looked at different ones, and
Cool.
I found one for me. And like that, so not about, I don't really need him buying me things, but when he does do something like that where he puts a lot of thought into it, he listens to something I happen to say.
I wonder if that's like a words of affirmation type of love language.
I think it kind of is because you're listening.
Because it's about the language. It's about literal words.
Right. And it's about things that you actually talk about. And he does that with a lot of things. And I will say he's really good at that. I wish I was better at that because I always feel lost on what to get him. Like when I want to buy him something. And he's like, I tell you all the time what I want. I'm like, you tell me things that cost so much money. I mean, come on.
I am not buying you another Millennium Falcon for $50,000.
Well, I mean, like, and the things like
Daniel
like,
paid for law school selling his childhood toys, just for those who, if this is your first time watching.
And here's the thing: he has an eye for knowing when things are going to be valuable.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's an amazing talent that he has.
I wish he had the same thing for stocks, because
he can look at a toy and he knows, and that's just what's crazy about it. But that's the thing, like he'll tell me, I want, like 1 year, I want Castle Grayskull, da 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 da, and it is. Well, he has, but he has Castle Grayskull.
How much did you pay for the Castle Grayskull?
I paid $2,500 for it, and it is worth so much more now.
It's worth what, $12,000 or $25,000 probably now.
His is graded at 8.
400% rate of return in how many years?
80. Yeah.
A what?
It's graded at 80.
Oh,
So
okay.
he doesn't want any toys below an 80.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's got like the Transformer. Yeah.
I used to have one.
Yeah. And then he got Snake Mountain, which is Skeletor's mountain. I mean, than Castle Grayskull.
Oh, I bet.
Well,
Because everybody would have bought a Castle Grayskull because that's
You
the
wanna
hero.
hear something
And
crazy?
then you had to. It's probably only people that got Snake Mountain were the ones like you've already got Grayskull, and then you get Snake Mountain.
Well,
and
here's the funny story about Snake Mountain. He had gotten a Snake Mountain. He paid $750 for it, and then he decides to sell it. And I don't think he sold it for much more than what he paid for.
I want to say he sold it for like $100 for it.
Maybe.
He made a lot.
Yeah, he didn't make
no.
a lot. And then he regretted it. And then he kept talking to me. I want a Snake Mountain. I want a Snake Mountain. I'm like, dude, you had a Snake Mountain. You sold it. Why do you need another one? And he's like,
he is
because
a grown
I've
man with a law
changed.
degree
He's
and
like-
law license.
He's like, I have changed my way of buying my toys and my collection. I want, the hero and the villain. The hero of this and the villain of this. And he has it like down to even like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, what he wants. And I just laughed because I was like, oh,
And he's brilliant at it and makes
no,
money.
he's great at it. He's great at it. And now my My 11-year-old is now into this stuff. My 11-year-old wanted a comic book. It was the first.
He got it too, didn't he?
Yeah, it was the first issue of Venom and Spider-Man. Yeah, first appearance. Thank you. And I just like, oh, Daniel, really? We're gonna buy that? That's what he wants? Yeah, Jen, that's what he wants. So we got it, and then we took it off and graded it. This sucker's already doubled probably in price now, and Jackson keeps up with it.
Nice.
Keeps up with it, and I think it's cool that he's getting an understanding of like how things can value of
That's
stuff.
a very good lesson.
It is a great lesson, and but yeah, it's funny with Daniel with his stuff.
We had a recent story
to get that.
of a spendthrift ex
Yeah.
that had bought and like at $80 a piece, every polo, every color available. It was like thousands of dollars worth that delivered in this giant box, and was like, anyway.
But I mean, that's the difference between us, is that I think I can be a little more frugal when it comes to that, which I think he thought when we got married, I'd be the one spending all the money. But then, like, I don't. I hardly buy anything really for myself. It's more.
If you're making money on stuff, like, go ahead.
It's funny because when we first got married, we made a rule. If we spent anything over $100, we would have a conversation with each other before spending it. That was kind of
good
a
rule, especially when you first get married. I mean,
And-
that's a good level, is $100.
I will tell you, when we first got married, and he said that to me, I was like, what? Because I never answered to anybody before, and I had been single like since I was 30, and I was just so used to doing everything myself. So that was really hard for me.
How old were you when you and Daniel got married?
I was 30. I turned 31 4 days later.
And how long have you been married now?
We've been married 12 years October.
Oh, you got married after me in summer?
What year did y'all get married?
2009?
Okay, we got married in 2010.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
I thought you guys had been married since before us, but I guess I guess that makes sense.
I mean,
when I knew Daniel in law school, he was like, so.
No, we were high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
Our story's funny. High school sweethearts, dated for 3 years. We broke up. I broke up with him. We were at A&M. I dropped out of A&M, came back home. Literally, we had a fight over a weekend. I was done. I dropped my classes that night. Like, that's what I did. Dropped out of A&M that night. Told my mom, I'm staying here. I don't want to go back to A&M. Dropped all my classes.
What led to this?
So Daniel needed to grow up, and I needed.
You don't say.
And I needed.
When's that going to happen? The guy who's still buying toys?
And I needed to become my own person without Daniel. Okay,
it worked.
I didn't know who I was.
I mean, it's all worked out for you.
Oh, yeah, no, it was the best thing for us, because I think back to us being young and how we got married young, we would have been divorced. Like we would never have worked. We needed to grow as individuals.
I think it's hard for anybody that gets married.
I mean,
in their before their 30s to stay together.
Well, we met when I was 16. He was 18. Okay, we were pretty much inseparable. Unless when he went off to school. So when he went off to school, I was here, and I was going to high school, and he was at college. And I mean, y'all
lasted through that?
You talk about loyalty to a level of loyalty with me. I didn't even go out with my friends. I was so loyal to him. Like there was a level of love that I can't even describe how much I loved him. So we did that, and
sounds cool to me.
my senior year of high school,
although it didn't work, it was still.
Oh my God. Well, my junior year of high school was really rough because, he didn't have a car at A&M, and we didn't really see each other very much. Then come my senior year, he got a car that summer, and...
Did y'all talk on the phone?
Mm-hmm.
That was back when there was the phone.
But yes.
Like it had a cord and it was attached to the wall.
Or cordless. But the thing with that was you had long distance phone bills done.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't unlimited calling, so we could only talk for so many minutes. So, yeah, that's what we did. And then my senior year, he got a car, and because his parents made him sell the car to go to college, and then he got another car going into my senior. So my senior, we saw each other way more. Like he came and visit and things like that.
I got a question that's
What?
I'm gonna hate when I ask it to you.
What?
Were y'all messing around that you would get mad if you found out your kids were doing?
Oh my gosh, I'm not answering that question.
You just did.
So senior year, we
Jennifer.
Oh, Tina. But we were together for 3 years. It was different. Like it might.
Oh, yeah, it's so much.
No.
It was totally appropriate when you did it, and totally inappropriate if your kids do it. That's just not right. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I don't think you can blush any more than you can.
Are you gonna have to turn down the contrast on the camera because she's like, you're just seeing this bright pink red glow come off of Jennifer right now.
Anyhow, so we started.
She's like, anyhow, move on, Dana.
So then we went off to A&M together, and then that was like difficult because we were around each other like all the time, and and that's when
You went from not enough to too much.
we kind of were, and we broke up. Well, I dropped out of school, and I decided I'm enrolling into Eastfield. I'm going to finish up there, and I'm going to go somewhere else or whatever. And then anyhow,
What year was that? Your second year?
that was it's still my first year.
First year?
I finished the first semester at A&M and then dropped my classes the second. Again, looking back on it, very dumb decision. Shouldn't have done what I did, but I did.
Worked out.
It did. So then we didn't talk, and then we end up getting back together, and then we end up breaking up again, and then we did not get back together for 10 years. 10 years. So the first 5 years of that, Daniel tried for me to get back with him. At one point he proposed to me on my front porch.
Wow.
He was really trying. And I wasn't there. And then
What year was that?
That was right after we first broke up.
Oh, really? Okay.
He was like, I already talked to my dad.
What year was
He'll buy
was
you
that?
a ring. It was like
In the late 90s, right?
yeah, it was probably 99. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I graduated in 98.
Because I met Daniel in 2000, 2001.
Yeah, so I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Are you crazy? That's kind of was my reaction. And anyway, so that first 5 years, we kind of talked off and on, and he'd try to get me to date him, and I wouldn't budge. And then we kind of started talking.
Why not?
Because I was mad at him. There was a level of being mad at him, a level of I don't know. There was just something there. I wasn't there yet. I wasn't ready to say Jennifer has become Jennifer yet.
Got you.
There was a piece in me.
Actually,
there's a piece in me that had to prove to Daniel I was more than what he thought I was. Because Daniel one time said to me, "You're just going to be smart enough to be a teacher," kind of thing like that at me. And it rubbed me the wrong way.
That would rub me the wrong way too.
And I was super mad at him over that.
Not that there's anything wrong with being a teacher, but it's not my calling. And if I was if I was accused of being anything, even if it's a good thing, that's just not my calling.
Mm-hmm.
I would know and I would resist.
Well, I think with Daniel was, and this is what I really, as time has gone on, what I really think what he meant by that was, he was trying to say, I think you should be a teacher. But it didn't come across like that. So I got super angry with him.
You are a teacher now.
Well, yeah.
Basically, you're teaching, and you're a coach.
Right.
And I think a coach is a type of teacher, but I think I think the connotation of teacher is okay, we have to teach you this stuff for the sake of teaching you this stuff, as opposed to coach is, you're doing these things, and I'm going to tell you what you need to know in order to do this so you can achieve this goal. It's more purpose, goal-driven, project-driven, oriented, as opposed to teacher of we got to teach you math because just trust me, one day you're going to need it.
Right. Well, there was this piece of me inside of me that was I have to prove to Daniel what I can do. There was this thing in me, and I just had that about me. So that first 5 years, it was kind of like that. And then after that, we quit talking. And it's kind of a funny story. So I was working for TGI Fridays, and I had just quit. I was leaving to go work for Palomino, and he had called me, and to this day, he says, I was just joking with you, but I took it very serious. He was like, he dated a girl who worked for Fridays at the airport, and she said that I had gotten fired from Fridays. Well, I was like, no, I didn't. And he was like, and he kept nagging me with it. And I said, I'm going to tell you something right now. The vice president of Fridays called me 2 times and talked to me for 45 minutes trying to get me to stay with the company. And I was so angry, so angry. Well, I hung up on him. I was like, I'm done. I hung up, and he never tried calling me again. And I didn't try calling him.
Wow. For 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And so
that begs the question. I'm going to you should just keep going where you were going to be in the story. But I'm waiting for what happened 5 years later that y'all ever found or talked again.
So funny. So Daniel had been married prior to me, and he was going through a separation and divorce, and I happened.
So did he drunk dial his ex-girlfriend, and that happened to be you?
No, he wasn't drunk, but he texts me. He texts me, and he says, "Hey, is this still Jennifer Har's number," or something like that? And I was like, who is this? It didn't say who it was.
He didn't say who he was?
And he said Dan. Well, I never called Daniel Dan. He was always Daniel to me. So I was like, Dan?
He was always Daniel to me. I still have a hard time remembering.
And I go, Dan who? And he goes, Bomer, silly. And so I was like, and I had a feeling I knew who it was. So I was like, okay. So anyway, I ended up talking to him that night on the phone for a few hours, and he told me what was going on, and I was like, he's like, I always just felt like if I needed somebody to talk to, like, you'd be there for me. And I was like, yeah, absolutely,
I'll be there.
So I was like, absolutely, and so.
Just put a picture of Michael Jackson scroll across the screen right there. Yeah, perfect.
So anyhow, while I was talking to him.
Fair use, parody.
I am trying to help him save his marriage. Literally. I'm like, here, this is what you need to do.
And now we do that for a living.
I know. I literally was telling him exactly what you need to do. I'm like, look.
She's practiced in her own life.
Have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done this? And he was like, no, yeah, I've done that. I've tried this, da-da-da-da.
Wait, let's slow down. What was your actual advice? Have you done this? Tell us more about that conversation.
I was just asking him if he had been to counseling. Had they seek counseling together? And it sounded like on
track with this. This is good.
He said, that he had been going, but she wasn't really willing. And then as we were talking more, I was like,
that is marriage viability assessment, non-viable marriage.
Well,
if one is willing to go and the other one's not.
Right. And the more we were talking about it, they hadn't been married that long. They had been married about a year, but they separated prior to being married a year. So they were having
that almost happened to me in summer.
They were having a lot of issues. And, he was living back with his parents. She was at the apartment. He basically had given her almost everything. And I was just like, well, if you love her, you really need to try it. And because
if you love someone.
Basically her father had passed away, and that he felt like some of the issues were coming from that.
Was he stung by this? Did he feel the sting?
Feel the sting? Anyway, so as we're talking more,
Did he have to set them free?
The more
Are you getting this? You know the song by Sting?
So.
Is he dreaming of blue turtles?
Oh God. So the more we talked.
Very funny.
The more we talked, I got the impression she just was not there anymore. That's kind of what.
Well, if either party doesn't want the marriage to work, it's not going to work. And if either party is not willing to do whatever it takes,
then
it's not going to work.
As we talked, more we talked, and more we would talk on the phone and stuff and discuss things. At some point or another, he does end up admitting to me on his day that he got married to her that he thought about me and was thinking about me right before he got married. And I was like, what the hell, dude? Why'd you get married then? You don't marry someone that you're thinking about somebody else. I feel like he's going to kill me by this story. Anyway.
Well, yeah, his ex-wife might be a little disappointed.
But
he might have to get a divorce from her. Oh, wait. I think he's already checked that box and moved on.
And he told me, he was like, yeah, and he's like, prior to getting married to her, a week prior, I almost went to the restaurant you worked at to see you. And I was like, what? Like, this is like, you should have never done this. Like, that was not what you needed to do. You know, you didn't need to get married if that's kind of your feelings.
How old was he?
At that time, he was in his 20s.
Yep, still a child.
Yeah.
20 is so freaking young.
Yeah. So they, you know,
30 is young. Really.
They got divorced, and then we started dating. Like, it was weird. I was trying to be his friend through it, but then I started realizing, like, oh my gosh, I still care a lot about him. Oh my gosh, I'm starting to have those feelings I used to have. It was like weird. And then he was having all that, and then we like opened up and told each other, you know, how we felt. And
then you made Jackson.
Yep. Then we got married.
Oh, you got married first. Good. That's good.
Well,
and then you made Jackson.
Yeah.
And then you made Chloe.
Zoe. Chloe. Daniel makes a joke with her that she has a baby sister named Chloe.
Oh my God, that is horrible. What are you doing?
I know. He tells her this,
what?
And he's like, you know your sister Chloe? Like, he'll show pictures and it's really her. And he's like, yeah, this is your sister Chloe.
It's really her.
And she's all like,
God, she is going to
like,
spend
no,
a fortune in therapy from that.
No, she's like, no, it's not Daddy. That was me.
Oh God, I hope she really believes that. I can see, like, okay, so that's going in Divorce Dynasty. Cut to, we need an actress that plays Zoe in her 20s, sitting in the therapist's office. I know I have this sister named Chloe. I know she's out there. And then we find or we get a set of twins. We get a set of twins to act, or like an actress, and we do the double, you know, but and like have that actress play Zoe now in the series. That would be classic. This is how the TV show's written, by the way. So
yeah, I mean,
all right, so can we go to number 18? How far are we in?
I'm just going to split this. Keep going, and I'm just going to split this episode.
Okay, so
you might need to cut some of that out.
We're gonna go into a third episode of the marriage viability assessment.
Yes.
And you're gonna learn. Oh, you're learning so much about. I think more you than me, which is great. So I'm hiding behind you. Look at Jennifer's problems. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Yes.
Like and subscribe.
Yes, like
Hit
and
that,
subscribe.
Smash that like button.
You want to hear more crazy stories?
Classic.
The Lawyer Dana Podcast.